Alright everyone, I want to welcome you all back to some more of The Great Ace Attorney 2. And after that wonderful and crazy trial we've just been through, we are now continuing onwards to the next part of the story, episode 4. And we're following through on the story's further investigation of what's to come. So with all that said guys, hope you all continue to enjoy watching. Let's keep it rolling. Alright guys, and we are back with episode 4.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said. Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder. An executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night. And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town. There is, naturally, always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant. And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow. For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
Eight days after that earth-shattering trial and Kazuma regaining his memory, we were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. November 1st, 10:24 a.m., Great Waterloo Hotel foyer. Professor Mikatoba is due to arrive at any moment. Yes, I'm so glad we got here in time. Susato-san hasn't been the same since what happened. Not that I'm surprised. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father. Do you suppose my father knew? That he knew was actually the mass murderer? The professor, you mean? I knew that's what she was thinking about. There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. Think of it, didn't you say that Professor Mikatoba knew about Kazuma going missing in Hong Kong as well? That's right, but for some reason he wasn't at liberty to talk to me about it. That probably means he knows then about Kazuma showing up here in London with amnesia and that he's regained his memory now. Ah, there she is. Oh, Father! Hello, Susato, how are you? I'm very well, thank you. We're delighted you arrived safe and sound. Hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us here. Oh no, not at all. It's my pleasure. We've heard all about your extraordinary exploits here in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas. It has? I always look forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive with the steamships from Britain. Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. Who is this man? Why do I feel as though I've seen him before? I take it from your expression that you can't quite place me. In that case, how about a little reminder, Seshiro? A firm tap should do it. Yes. A firm tap? What? Here we go then. I hereby pronounce the defendant Ryunosuke Naruhodo guilty. Oh! You're... The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Your Excellency! Hello, Josh Goku. Oh wow, almost messed up the name. How are you? It's been a long time. Haha. Good, you remember now. That really did the trick. Guilty! Only I was declared not guilty, wasn't I? And there was no laughing at the time. So, London again after all this time. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. To be honest, I never thought I'd be back. Neither did I. I didn't imagine Japan would ever be invited to an international symposium like this. Though, really, I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Seshiro? What are you talking about, Yujin? Of course, Judge Jigoku. He must complete the set. He's the other man who 16 years ago came to London with Kazuma's father and Professor Mikatoba. He's the third visiting scholar. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? Ah, I knew you were jealous. Sorry, ministerial status? Yes, didn't you know? Seshiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. It was his personal insistence that allowed you to take Kazuma's place here on this study tour. Guilty as charged. Ha ha. Oh, well, thank you very much. He's really every bit as important as he looks. Ah, yes, now Naruhodo. I received a telegram from Lord Strongheart yesterday. Oh, you did? It appears that some things came to light in a trial you were involved with 8 days ago. I was gonna say 8 years. About what happened 10 years ago. That tragedy. Yes, could you tell us any more about it? Then we converse. So, how was the voyage here? Well, 50 days at sea is a long time by anyone's standards. But it wasn't as bad as when we first came 16 years ago. No, that's true. Then I truly wondered if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. This time, we followed the same route as you, so we were able to relax and enjoy the experience. Ah, so you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris? We did, yes, though only for one night. And yesterday evening, we left the port of Dunkirk for Dover. Just in time for the symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow. It's wonderful that you were invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father. It's thanks to Seshiro here. 16 years ago, he managed to ingratiate himself with Britain's Attorney General. I'm sure that's why he was invited, and I suppose you could say I'm something of an appendage by default. Speak for yourself, Yujin. You are close friends with the Professor of Forensic Science at a major hospital. Yes, well, I'd rather not dredge all that up, really. No, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then. But it doesn't bring him back. Kazuma's father, I suppose. The professor, the killer who took the lives of 5 members of the British aristocracy, was actually Kazuma's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin Asogi. Genshin. You knew, I presume, Father. Yes, he was a close friend at the time. Genshin came to Britain as a police detective. He was studying investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. I've never understood what drove the man to commit such heinous acts. It was a close trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with little ado. To this day, very few people know what really happened, even in our homeland. But what about Kazuma? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father? No, of course not. He was told his father passed from sickness. However, I suspect he may have had his doubts. Oh, why? As you know, I tried to guide Kazuma growing up as if he were my own son. Then one day, he came to my office at the university and said, I've decided I want to travel to Great Britain and study there. Do you think he wanted to come here and investigate his father's death? I don't know. But when I looked into his eyes, I didn't know that there was no way I'd be able to stop him. Something else came to light in that trial the other day, actually. Oh, what? Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year, Kazuma has since turned up here in London, working as the apprentice of Lord Van Zeeks. What? What? That's news to us! So, Lord Strongheart's telegram neglected to mention that part then. As you know, we both thought Kazuma had died on the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January. But he didn't die. He's alive. As you knew, didn't you, Father? In actual fact, no. What I did know is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try and ascertain what had happened, but to no avail. But he's still alive? And here in London, you say? I never dared even to dream it. Why on earth did the young man not make contact? The government and the police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now. Well, it seems that he was suffering from amnesia. What? Amnesia? When we first came across him again here in London, he didn't know who either of us were. I see. He only regained his memory 8 days ago. This is unbelievable. Yes, it's quite miraculous. I wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. I must speak with him urgently. I wonder how Kazuma's been these past few days. Would it be wrong of us to go and visit him? That began 16 years ago now. It's a distant memory, really. It was Yujin here, Genshin, Asogi, and myself. We were the original 3. The first judicial scholars from Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not what they are today, I can tell you. 16 years ago, things were tough for their generation. Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at Yume University at the time, you know, young lady. Yes, grandmother told me. He went to do research at the Great London Hospital to study autopsy, practically unheard of in Japan. Yes, it was an eerie place sandwiched between the back of a prison and a burial ground. Ugh, not more talk of graves. Very often, there was no one willing to deal with bodies following autopsy work. So you see, autopsy labs have something of an unavoidable relationship with graveyards and prisons. Not my cup of tea at all. Do you remember that Scottish prison governor? Kaiden, his name was? He was a good man. Yes, but then of course in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case, when Genshin was arrested for a series of the most gruesome murders. I simply couldn't believe it. I'd known the man for years. I was a witness at the secret hearing and I tried to speak in his defense, but you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you? Well, suffice to say that after that trial, we were sent back to Japan. There was nothing more we could do to save Genshin. He was a lost cause, sadly. Well, if you excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have held you up here for so long. I'll call for the porter then. Just wait here. Susato-san's gone off at a run. I'd like to stay and talk more, but I do have various preparations to make for tomorrow. Yes, of course. It must be a big responsibility representing our entire country. I wish you the best of luck. Naruhodo. I hope you'll keep an eye on Susato for me. Keep looking after her as you've obviously have been. Oh, no. I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me. Well, I do appreciate you being here for her. After all, I've been a miserable father to her. I've thoroughly let her down. Sorry? What do you mean? Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my long study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year Shisato was born. Yes, I heard. The birth of my daughter was the most joyous event of my life, but... well, sadly, it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life, too. Oh, yes. Shisato-san hinted at something like that. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. The point is, I became rather less dependable than befits a grown man. I would like to be bored with the details. Tell me about it. And it was then that Seshiro offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain. I was too worried about you to leave you behind. So perhaps I was a little heavy-handed when it came to persuading you to accompany me to London. So, that's what happened in a nutshell. And that's also the reason why I now feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. Though the world does not readily afford young women such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. Ah, one other thing, Naruhodo. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. Oh, really? Of course. What can I do for you? Well, the thing is, I'm so sorry that took so long. Mr. Sato. Now then, allow us to take your bags. Allow me to take your bags. One moment, if you please, Porter. Oh, of course, sir. That machine around your neck, it's a camera, I believe. Quite right, sir. Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph to commemorate a wonderful stay at the hotel, sir. Well, I think sorry. Wow. I'm reading too fast again. Well, I think given the occasion, we could justify the expense. Ah, yes, of course. Oh, well, they didn't get my new suit, but whatever. I'd like to thank you for coming with me, Mr. Naruhodo. It's really made my father very happy, I think. Oh, well, I'm pleased then. But we were interrupted before. Professor Mikatoba was about to ask me something. Shall we return to Baker Street then? I expect Iris will have some delicious tea waiting for us. Yes, let's go. I'm getting more and more anxious about Kazuma, though. Perhaps I'll try to meet with Lord Strongheart later and ask after him. Alright, we're gonna move now, right? Let's get to it. Great Waterloo. First of November, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Here's the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. I've supplemented your original with the figures you asked for from the yard. I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord. What's Lord Van Zeek's doing here? My, there seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say? This place is stifling enough as it is. We really don't need any more tension. My apologies, I didn't notice you come in. Your small stature and dark dress make you all but invisible to me. Oh, no, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure. From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come here. Now then, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I'm right here. Kill me now. Is something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for you. Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I've never experienced a room at such a perfect temperature. If you're sure, the beads of sweat carving their way down your face seems to suggest otherwise. Because of the daggers you're staring at me with, mainly. As you're no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear, madam. Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to have been invited. I'll leave the remaining preparations for the meeting room in your capable hands then, Lord Van Zeeks. I will attend at once. He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he? I know, but I haven't done anything, have I? These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently put out of action in spectacular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is your left hand still of service? Mr. Naruhodo! He's talking about Dr. Sit. Ah, of course. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just, fear not, you've done nothing wrong. Dr. Sit's own wrongdoing precipitated the situation. You needn't concern yourself with it any further. That'd be a lot easier to do if it weren't for the piercing stare you're giving me. Lord Van Zeeks is doing an admirable job of holding the fort. Though disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Oh, missing? What's become of Kazuma-sama now? Not long ago, visitor numbers to the Great Exhibition exceeded 30 million. 30 million? Are there even that many people in the world? As a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, the population of the imperial capital Tokyo is 2 million. I'll be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibit's main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making. 2 years of preparations and negotiations with other countries. Sounds like a tremendous achievement. Congratulations. The 20th century will see the wholesale adoption of forensic investigation techniques, and cooperation between policing organizations around the globe will be essential. Which is why this landmark first symposium had to be hosted here at the heart of our great British Empire, in order that Scotland Yard can become the leading investigative organization in the New World. He's the same as ever, I see. That passion of his is quite something. You're every bit as passionate in your own way, I'm sure, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm the only person in this country who truly cares about a future that embraces forensic science. It was my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up. So the disgrace of the forensic investigation team has been a bitter blow to my ambitions. Well, let's check it out. I first established the forensic investigation team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Sit at the helm, it was steadily accruing an impressive record of achievement. I was on the verge of changing its name and elevating its status to a full-blown forensic investigation department. And can you not do that now? Obviously, nobody wants to hear anything about it at the moment. Even I can't keep the story out of the papers. 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. This incident will set back our country's advancement in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say. Unintended repercussions of our trial. We simply couldn't have overlooked what had happened, though. Of course not. We should all be grateful to you both. Anyway, I'll still reform this country's policying when I become Attorney General. This might delay my plans, but it won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way. The missing apprentice. About Lord Van Zieks' apprentice. Ah, yes, that came as a surprise to me, I must say, that you and he are old friends. How did he become an apprentice to Lord Van Zieks in the first place? It came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by border police. They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel. Oh my, so he stowed away to get here. He had no papers to identify him, no passport, and he was suffering from amnesia too. Other than the fact he was clearly of Eastern descent, there were no clues as to who he was. So, I decided to assign him to Lord Van Zieks. That way I could keep an eye on him. But then, why the mask? I didn't want to burden Lord Van Zieks with a tiresome explanation about why he had an Eastern apprentice, because it would be so much easier to explain why he was wearing a mask. He's proving to be of great help to Lord Van Zieks. I have high hopes for his future. By the way, do you know where he's gone? No idea, but I believe he's left London for the time being. Oh. I take it you also didn't know that the man's father was one of our country's most infamous criminals, I mean. Genshin Asogi. Alright guys, I'm going to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. When we come back, we're going to finish up on our conversation with Lord Strongheart over here and continue onwards. So anyways, thank you again. Until the next one.